You mess with me, you'll go back to prison. Clink, clink. Hey everybody, it's me, Jill, and welcome to Jill Informed. This is a recap of The Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 8, Episode 15, Reunion Part 2. So Part 2 picks up right where Part 1 left off. Andy has introduced Kim D. She comes out and she is immediately taunting Teresa enough for Teresa to get up out of her seat. Now, I know it doesn't take much to taunt Teresa, but I hope she's just doing this for the show and that she isn't stupid enough to actually risk going back to prison. But Kim D, I want to wipe that smug expression off of her face so bad. Yeah, go ahead. You mess with me, you'll go back to prison. Clink, clink. She is the worst. Kim D says, I'm just happy she learned how to spell posh because it's bringing a lot of business to my website. And Andy goes, oh yeah, what does that stand for again? And Teresa said, piece of coke whore every day. I think she forgot the homewrecker part, unless Teresa thinks that whore starts with an H. That's possible. Then I can't even take notes on this next part because there is so much shouting simultaneously back and forth that I really can't hear what anybody's saying. Mainly Teresa shouting nasty things at Kim D and Kim D shouting back. And then there was a question got brought up from somebody about where all the money went for that fundraiser fashion show. Kim D says that the families got $1,000 each. Teresa's like, that's it? And I'm thinking the same thing. And so Kim D was just so offended by that. She thought that was plenty and that, she had to pay for the food and she had to pay for the event hall and everything. Oh my God. That was not a very successful fundraiser. Melissa actually attempts to reason with Kim D at one point after all the shouting. And she says, okay, I'm not going to yell at you, not going to call you any names. Please don't call me any names. But I got to ask you, don't you think you're kind of a pot stirrer? And she said, yeah, I am. I admit it. And she said, do you really want to be like that? And I think basically Kim D does. She is not interested in changing at all. There's a question of how she can afford her house and her this and that. And she said, my businesses. And Teresa implies that one of her businesses has to do with running a prostitution ring. And Andy said to Teresa, are you calling her a madam? And Teresa goes, yeah, she's a madam. She was like, didn't know how to pronounce madam or didn't know that that's what it was called. I don't know. Andy asks her, Kim, are you a madam? And she said, first of all, let me just say this. There was a long pause before she answered. And then she said, no, I'm not. But I have to tell you, I would not have a problem with it. Okay. And Andy said, Kim, I could actually see you being a madam. So could I. I think we all could. To each his own. It's the oldest profession, and if anything, it should be legalized and regulated so that the women can be paid appropriately and have a safe environment. So that's my 2 cents on prostitution. Anyway, we say goodbye to Kim D, and then we start to talk a little bit about Siggy and her life, and it's pretty boring. She talks about her wonderful family, her businesses, and how great and beautiful and fantastic her life is, and her life coaching and all that kind of thing. But she does bring up Margaret's lawsuits and a bankruptcy, and I just want to ask her, if your life is so great and wonderful, why do you have to do stuff like that? Why bring other people down? Next, we fill some time with a montage about all the parents. Here's how you know they can barely fill 2 parts to this reunion. We have to fill with this whole section about the parents. We see Siggy's parents, who I love, again, and Marge Sr., who, I don't know how I feel about her. and Teresa's dad, who, I don't know how I feel about him. But he's recently widowed, so I'm cutting him some slack. But also, they showed this weird little scene with Dolores and her mother talking about getting colonics, and her saying, "Come on, Mom, you're so constipated." I don't even remember that scene. Blissfully, I probably purposely blocked it out of my mind. We talk about Dolores' relationship with Frank Sr. a little bit. Somebody asks her if they could get back together, and she said, "I feel like we are together, but not sexually." I mean, that's just the next step, right? We go over the Dolores and Danielle fight and recap. We go over my favorite line of the season. "Welcome back, scumbag." I don't love it because she calls her a scumbag. I love it because she's welcoming her back. But it leads us to rehashing what Dolores said to Danielle, and Dolores is calling her a liar. Danielle said no. She said, "Why would I go after Teresa?" And she said, "You weren't going after her. You were just catching me up from last season that I missed and talking about each of the ladies. You said Melissa, she won't be a problem. She can go either way. You said that Jacqueline was unmanageable and that's why she's not coming back." And apparently Dolores had an issue with that. I don't know why. I think that's pretty accurate. I think Jacqueline was pretty unmanageable. And it makes sense for, if you guys remember last season, they were trying to get Teresa and Jacqueline to make up, and Jacqueline went to this dinner with a real agenda. She was not there to make up. She was unmanageable. She really was. So I'm kind of believing Danielle, believe it or not, in this story. Then she said, "You just said, and Teresa, forget about it. All she cares about is money. So watch her." This story rings true to me for the way she's explaining it. And Dolores is getting so upset that you know there's some kind of truth there that's making her uncomfortable. So to defend herself, Dolores calls Danielle a pathological liar. She said, "I don't know anybody who doesn't hate you." Margaret made a face to that. So Siggy has to defend, oh my God, did you see the face this one made? And Margaret said, "Yeah, because I adore her and she likes her and she likes her," pointing to Teresa and Melissa. That's what Margaret was making a face about. Nothing else, not the liar part or anything else. She was just the fact that she would say, "I don't know anybody that likes her." But of course, Siggy had to butt in, and Margaret then butts in to defend Danielle, and it's another free-for-all. And it gets really crazy, and finally the producers call for a break, which was well needed. You can hear Danielle in the back saying, "I don't want to be anywhere near Dolores Catania." Margaret's trying to calm her down. Teresa's trying to calm her down, saying, "Okay, it's not true what she said. Just let it go. Don't let her get to you." And I like Dolores. Dolores and Siggy are sitting there like mean girls. Dolores says to Siggy, "Do you hear her back there? Oh, I love getting her like this." Like she purposely riled her up? I don't know, but I didn't like it. We all come back from the break and we have to go over the Hitler comment. Again, are we sure we're all done talking about Cakegate? Because I'm sure there's more we could say about that too. But no, we go over it again. I'm not going to make you guys sit through it yet again, but probably the most interesting thing about the conversation was that Andy told Siggy, "I am so on the other side of this. I'm sorry, Siggy, I am. I was not offended when it happened." He said, "I even called my parents to get their reaction. They didn't think just the mere mention of Hitler's name was offensive." And Siggy replies by saying, "I don't care what you think. I don't care what you or you or you or you think." So there you have it. She's got her own opinion about it, and nobody is going to change that opinion. Nobody. Before we let Danielle go, Andy asks her if she enjoyed coming back. She said yes, she really did. And then we say goodbye to Danielle, And I mean, all in all, this entire season was a way different Danielle. It would be very interesting to me to have a conversation with somebody with whom this was the first season they ever saw and get their opinion on Danielle Staub. Before this season, I will tell you my opinion of Danielle was pretty much on par with my opinion of Kim D. Low class trash. Danielle really reined it in this season. All right, so now Andy wants to end the show taking a page from the New York Housewives by asking everybody their rose and their thorn. We start with Dolores, who says the thorn was that her relationship with Teresa was questioned, and that really hurt her because it's a long-time relationship. And her rose is that the relationship wasn't broken. We move on to Siggy, who says that her rose was the pellets. And her thorn was her fighting with Margaret. Margaret then says that her rose was all the new friendships that she made, and her thorn is also her fighting with Siggy. Melissa says that her thorn is all the suffering that her family has gone through, and her rose, her success with Envy. That place must be a lot more successful when it's not being filmed, because I never saw a customer in there. And finally, Teresa says that her thorn, of course, was losing her mother, and that her rose is her daughters and how they've stepped up to the plate. They're helping around the house and really doing a lot to help out since their grandmother's gone and their dad is gone. So I hope they are, because I didn't see any evidence of that on camera either. And finally, Andy brings out a cake. The exact replica of Melissa's birthday cake. They bring it out and he cuts it and gives everybody a piece. Everybody eats nicely. Except Teresa, I think, put it on Andy's face. But other than that, the ladies were on their best behavior, just eating the cake. And that concludes season 8 of The Real Housewives of New Jersey. But wait, there's more. During the commercial, did you guys notice the Secrets Revealed episode that's going to be next week? I saw a proposal. There may be one more recap in store. So thank you for joining me. Thank you so much for all your comments. I love them. I love hearing from you guys. I say this all the time, but you guys are funny. You crack me up. I love the things you say. You also are smart. You give me information. You make me laugh. I love my subscribers. Thank you so much. But if you haven't subscribed yet, it's not too late. Please subscribe down below. Please give me a thumbs up if you liked this video. And don't forget to leave a comment. I love to hear from you guys. And I just may see you next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central Time for the next recap of The Real Housewives of New Jersey. Bye-bye.